Easy explain Darwinism speciation. So let's get into this evolutionary process of speciation. Essentially, what speciation means, what this process is, it's the process of giving rise to new species, right? How we have so many species on Earth. How did we get there? How did they all rise from common ancestors? So I put this in like a little equation kind of format. So how do we get speciation? Well, it starts with isolation, right? We'll look at just isolating any kind of population of pre-existing species. And then once you're isolated, you apply any, if not all, of the 5 evolutionary mechanisms. So natural selection, sexual selection, gene flow, genetic drift, or mutations. Any one of those 5 on an isolated population over time will result in them being a new species, meaning they cannot go back and reproduce to create fertile offspring with another population, right? Another species. So let's look at a quote here from Darwin. He says, isolation also is an important element in the process of natural selection. Isolation probably acts more efficiently in checking the immigration of better adapted organisms after any physical change, right? So he's connecting this to natural selection, thinking about how they're going to work together to create new species, right? Isolation is a huge factor here. Immigration is getting a little bit into gene flow, having genes move into your population. But, if you're staying isolated, those organisms that come in will either, really throw things off for you because they're going to be better adapted than you, or maybe you're actually going to work to keep them out. And if you do isolate yourself in that way, we'll get to that in a second, you're still going to become a different species from them. So moving on to that, it's a great segue. There are 2 ways to be isolated. One is called allopatric, which means you're of a different country, literally, patriotism, right? Patrick. So you're in actually different places when you're isolated. Or there's sympatric, you're the same country, you're actually in the same place, but still being isolated, reproductively speaking. So let's look at these. Darwin says that isolation, by checking immigration and consequently competition, will give time for any new variety to be slowly improved. And this may sometimes be of importance in the production of new species. Isolation is of considerable importance in the production of new species. Just doubling down there at the end. So, again, isolation is key here, but you can still be isolated from someone that you're living in the same area as, right? As long as you're isolated reproductively, you can be, giving rise to new species over time. And a final selection from Darwin here on this topic, just thinking about how species over time are going to be further improved, at least to their environments, their fit. So Darwin says, again, there will be a fair field for natural selection to improve still further the inhabitants and thus produce new species. So in this view, over time, as we're isolated, as natural selection is working on the populations, in theory, over time, very long periods of time, very slow change, we will see the inhabitants of a space becoming better and better fits to their environment, provided that the environment isn't changing too quickly at the pace that generations can renew themselves. And that's getting into a whole different issue with climate change. But for now, looking at this evolutionary process of speciation, how it fits in with Darwin, his theory on isolation. So for now, hope that helps.